Hey everyone! In this video I'm doing an abstract watercolor portrait in my Strathmore regular sketchbook. So this is the last page that I could find that was semi-clean. In the beginning you saw me using a kneaded eraser to lift up some of those pencil sketches that were just some like little, I don't know, practice doodles. I couldn't even really see what they were, but I felt that it would add a little texture to the background of this abstract portrait, and seeing as it was the last page and I wasn't really trying to, do a like full-on masterpiece, it really didn't matter. I had been practicing a little bit in this sketchbook with watercolor and some acrylic markers, and I liked this effect that it had. So after doing a bunch of other things, I was going in a different direction. I had recorded a couple things earlier this week. They just weren't turning out. So I just kind of went in the other direction, in the I don't care direction. So I thought, I'm gonna paint with some muddy paint, with some paints, this paint brand that I don't really like, and I'm gonna do watercolor on paper that's not meant for watercolor, and I'm gonna do an extra messy abstract painting. Sometimes you just gotta radically switch gears if the direction you're going in is just a bunch of slammed doors. So yes, the paints, these are MAIMERI Blue Italian watercolors. I think I have 10 or 12 of them, and I made a little palette. At the time that I bought these paints, I was justifying buying more watercolor by telling myself that I had this rule. I must, if I'm going to purchase new watercolors, they would have to be pigments that I did not already have. So I did my best to balance this palette out in the traditional way by only buying pigments that were unique. They were all single pigments, and I didn't already have them, which is kind of why I think this palette ended up being not the best. They don't really get along with each other very well, or, it could just be me, of course. But so, since these are my least favorite watercolors in my possession, I've been trying to use them a little bit more lately, especially for doing sketchbook work, and just trying to use what I have on hand and use up what I have, So what this painting ended up reminding me a lot of, I guess maybe that's why I was okay with it, and I don't know, ended up kind of liking the messiness of it, is because it reminded me a lot of an acrylic underpainting that you would do for an oil painting, or an oil painting underpainting, the really thin underlayers that you would use with the turpenoid. So they're very thinned down, almost watercolory version of your underpainting, with the blocking and the shadows and the shapes for your underlayers. And that's pretty much all I had in mind for this painting. Make it as messy as possible. Not like that was my full intention, like I'm gonna make this as messy as possible, but allowing it to be very abstract, very expressive, which usually ends up being messy. I started out with the mud in my palette so that I could just use up that paint, and then I went in with some specific colors later to warm up certain areas or just add some depth or some tone. But all in all, the way that this paper behaves with watercolor is it's kind of limiting as far as, you can't really blend anything once you put it down unless the paper is still wet and you're dropping in some paint and it just flows where it wants. But it's not like watercolor paper at all where, you can go in and rework it and kind of lead it around and, lift it and stuff. This is, I don't even know what it is. I guess it's just a version of cellulose, regular sketchbook paper. Just pulp, I guess is what you would call it. Once you touch pigment to it, it pretty much stays, but it absorbs in a way that it kind of blurs and, has an interesting effect. So I just kind of went with it, and this is my workhorse sketchbook. So everything in here is like scribbly, messy, experimental. And this was the last page that I could find some room to work on. So aside from the sketches that were already on it, since there wasn't any pen and it was relatively light, I mean, to everybody else, you could probably see them just fine, but to me, since it might have been in graphite, or I'm pretty sure it was in graphite because I could barely see it, and use the kneaded eraser to get it lighter. So whatever shows through in this painting will just kind of, I don't know, I guess blend in with the abstractions, so to speak. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful day or night whenever this video finds you. And if you like this video, please put a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.